Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of TV is Our Real Mom. I'm Dave,
I'm Katie.
and you are listening to our weekly Survivor recap podcast in which we share our thoughts on the latest episode of Survivor. And Katie, thoughts?
I have many thoughts. They're all over the place, a bit like this episode. Overall, this episode left me feeling a little bit empty, disheartened, and wondering what the point of this season even is.
Ooh, ouch. Harsh. That is harsh.
I mean, I have to go with my genuine emotions after an episode airs, and most of this season, my emotions have been bad. They have not been good emotions, with the exception of the Debbie vote. I have felt like things have gone terribly wrong this season. And
Yeah.
this episode is another example of it. And I was reading the recap that Dalton Ross wrote, and he said, and I agree with him, that it's hard to pinpoint why this season feels so wrong or feels so not good.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't really pinpoint a reason either, but he just said that something feels off. He mentioned something about how it feels inconsistent. There's no flow. There's no like overall story, it seems.
Yeah.
And I kind of have to agree with that. I feel like at the beginning, the bloodbath at the pre-merge when all the characters went out is a good example of what can happen when you cast an all-star season with, enough dynamic people, but an equal, if not greater amount of, okay people, like there's a chance that all those dynamic people will go immediately and then you're stuck with the bland. And that's what we have here
Yeah.
is just the bland at the end. And they're fine players. Sarah, by all accounts, is playing a great game, but there's no investment. I don't feel invested. I feel like I'm rooting for Cirie and Aubrey, who I hardly see, and Cirie, who I'm just rooting for because of her past seasons, and she has shown some greatness in this season too. But I just don't know where to turn with this season. I don't know who to root for. I don't know what to think. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it sounds like you shared Dalton Ross's viewpoint pretty much exactly, and I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's because it's a common viewpoint across the board for most. I don't know how the casual viewers would see this season, but I think the super fans are all feeling a similar way as you and Dalton are. I know I feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. I guess what is it about Cirie this season, or I guess it's probably after this episode, you could say that Cirie doesn't feel like she's either not going to win, or it doesn't feel like as satisfying of a win for her. Maybe, I don't know.
I feel like there's still time for her to work some magic on island time, not in episode time. There's time for her to make maneuvers, but I just left the episode feeling like the one person I was putting my entire faith in for this season is screwed now. And I don't think her move was a bad one. I really don't. Because apparently, get this, okay, Sarah promised her to give her the advantage in the middle of the day. Sarah did not give it to her until right before a tribal council, which is why she didn't have time to read the fine print. And apparently there was this whole big back and forth. Jeff apparently was leaning towards letting her use it. And then something about non-transferable. Troyzan said something. I don't know why Troyzan's words hold any weight, but apparently that him driving home the non-transferable word is what finally made Probst say, okay, you can't use it. But Cirie didn't have time to read it. So
Right.
get off her back, people.
Yeah, no, I think like Dalton Ross said in his article, that Cirie, it was a good, like Cirie's head was in the right place. Like it was a good try, like A for effort, right?
Mm-hmm.
But not, it just didn't work out because of the non-transferable thing. And I don't know, would it have worked out? if it
Well,
wasn't
first of all, I don't know why she was so dead set on getting Ty out. There has to be a reason, a magical Suri reason that none of us can see except Suri. Um, Maybe because she sensed that he had multiple idols. I don't know why her focus was on Ty, but either way, that's who she wanted out. And if she would have been able to use the votes, yeah, it would have worked. I think, right?
well,
Because she would have had Michaela.
who was the other side voting for? Like,
Michaela.
so they intended to vote Michaela all along.
That's what I assume, and that's why it was easy for Sarah to jump on board. I don't know why after that went down they didn't vote out Suri. Because Suri's so good at she was like, Sarah, I was only doing this because you didn't believe me about Ty, and I wanted to get rid of him for you. Because Suri legitimately wanted to go to the end with Sarah.
Yeah, I mean, she says in confessional that Sarah is important in me getting further in this game. She never really said that she wanted to go to the end with Sarah, but she did say
That's
that
true.
she
That's
did
true.
say that she wanted to go further in the game with Sarah. So she at least wanted to go to like top 4 or something. I don't, and that's what another thing I don't understand is why is Sarah so pivotal to Cerie's getting farther in the game? I don't. Is it just she trusts her or
Maybe
something? I
because
don't think.
Sarah has connections, she's kept open doors to Brad and Troy, whereas Suri has, and I think Suri has to some extent, but Sarah's clearly working with both sides. And the other thing about this tribal council was that I think Sarah's been a little bit exposed now. So I'm not sure Brad and those guys will want to keep her around much longer. And Suri should just be glad to vote anyone else but herself.
Right. Yeah, it became very apparent by the end of this episode that Sarah was more in the middle than anyone, I think.
Mhm.
She really was solid with both sides. If you kind of look at it as Brad's side and Cerie's side,
Mhm.
Sarah was working both those sides. She was tight with both of them. I mean, the
Mhm.
way she was able to make sure everybody voted Michaela, and Sarah voted Michaela too, right? I mean,
She voted for her twice.
yeah, exactly. So, I mean, her ability to be working with Cerie so obviously, and then just vote with that other side so easily. Just, I mean, it just shows that she's like floating in the middle
Yeah,
perfectly
because that's
up
basically
till
what
now.
that tribal council was. Both sides were like, Sarah, vote with us, Sarah, vote with us. But now that that's happened, you've got to believe that nobody wants to sit at the end with Sarah. Like, they see that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. But at the same time, I mean, Sarah's arguably played the best game of anyone left, so it's like she kind of like deserves to win, maybe. But I know you were saying that you wouldn't be super satisfied with a Sarah
I
Lucina.
don't know. Okay, it's like she's playing a good game, but there's not much to root for there. You know what I mean? You like it when a combination of good player plus good character wins. Like that's why I felt so robbed when Aubrey didn't win because she was both. Um, Sarah's a good player, but and I'm sure she's fun to be around in real life, but there's not a lot going on there on the TV screen when she's on it. Am I
Yeah.
wrong? Am I the
No,
only one?
no, I could see that, and maybe it's because we are not like the I don't know, like we can't relate necessarily to the mom thing.
It's
Like,
not that she's a mom. Cerie's a mom, and she's amazing to watch. But it's just the way she speaks. It takes her an hour to get out a sentence. It's everything's monotone. You know what I mean? She always has this straight face, like the same expression when she's speaking, and that's it doesn't make you an unlikable person in real life. But when you're on my TV screen, I want to see some fireworks and some charisma, and apparently she has it, but it doesn't come across on the TV.
right? Yeah, I think that's kind of why there would be a slight element of disappointment if she won, even
It's
though
like she's playing a Tony-ish game, but she's not Tony. You know what I mean?
right, yeah, exactly. So, is there any outcome that would make you happy with the ending of this season, or what?
Well, I still, as much as I'm bitching about how the season has ended up, Suri and Aubrey have both made the finale, so that's good.
Yeah.
I didn't expect either of them, let alone both of them, to make it. So, but I think they're in trouble.
You think it's going to be Bingo Bongo, Aubrey, Suri back to back?
Well, I don't know because the preview said something about voting out Ty, and Ty looks distraught. I'm really strangely concerned about a Ty win right now. I don't know why. I was, and then I watched remember those jury videos I talked about last week, where they speak to the jury and their thoughts on the tribal council.
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah.
Pretty much everybody says the guys don't have a shot. Brad, Troy, Ty. None of them have a shot.
Wow. I mean, is Brad doesn't have a shot just because he's rich, pretty much, or what?
What has Brad done since the merge? Like, what has he done?
I don't know. I think some credit has to be given to at least what we saw in the edit. He did a really good job of rallying troops, and he made he made alliances. I mean, go back and watch the whole season. That's why we were
at the beginning. Since the merge, what has he done?
But I mean, the beginning of the game counts too. I mean, you have to play a good game by getting people on your side, and I think that's why everyone's been praising Brad all season up till the last episode or two, and that was because he was doing such a good job of maintaining relationships, and that's a huge part of getting this far in the game, especially when you're a challenge threat. So I mean, I think he deserves credit even now, but I honestly think the combo of just not quite doing enough at the end of the game here and being a wealthy man makes him unlikely to win at the end.
It sounds like by listening to the jury that the only way he wins is if he goes up against Ty and Troy, which would be awful. Oh God, can you imagine?
Yeah. So what does the jury think about Troy Zan? Is he doing something that they can see that we can't see, or
I'll tell you that Troy is just as invisible in the jury speeches as he is on the show. So that should tell you what they think about Troy. Except for Sierra's like, Ma, I'm rooting for Brad and Troy, and they'll probably get my vote. Because she's dumb.
Well, I mean, those were her buddies out there, and I mean, a lot of people vote that way.
I forget that some people just vote for their friends.
Yeah, and that was part of the discussion, I think, in the Andrea Tribal Council. They talked a lot about, the jury might vote for who they think played the best game, or the jury might vote for who they like the most. And that was a good discussion to be had, at Tribal Council.
It was good, and it sounds like Andrea is having trouble. She says she has no trouble forgiving Suri for some reason, but she feels gross about the way her and Sarah treated her. Like, they both blindsided her, but she feels fine about Suri. Doesn't feel good about Sarah, and that's not an uncommon sentiment. Zeke thinks if anyone but Sarah wins, that it will be a lost season. But everyone else seems to have some issues with Sarah.
Wow. Yeah. And I thought it was weird too at the beginning of the episode when Sarah said, like, Andrea's got to go. I cannot stand the girl. And I was like, where's this?
Hell?
Where's this coming from?
Why you got to go there, officer? Like, that's not cool.
Yeah. I just didn't understand. Like, we didn't see any indication that Sarah hated Andrea so much. So I thought that was kind of weird.
We didn't, but apparently she does, and just hated her so much she got rid of her. Even was it the right move to get rid of Andrea, do you think?
Was it Suri's decision? Basically?
I think so. I think like most of that side's decisions, that was Suri. So
if you look at it from that point of view, I mean, was it a good decision for Suri to get rid of Andrea?
Yeah, that's basically what I meant.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's too hard to think about.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so the only reasoning we really get in the episode that Suri wants Andrea gone is that Andrea wants Sarah gone. And she says Andrea's trying to play me like a cheap suit. Yeah. So basically she feels like Andrea's gaming her, trying to get her way to get Sarah gone. Mm-hmm. And I think she was just tired of being played and not played with anymore. Mm-hmm. And her game was, I need Sarah Lucina on my side. Mm-hmm. And I still don't understand why exactly. Maybe you can I already asked you that, so I don't know.
Well, Suri is under the impression, and after listening to the jury videos, it's hard not to agree with her that Sarah has pissed so many people off that she's not going to get enough votes at the end. So that's why I was under the belief that Suri wanted to sit at the end with Sarah rather than Andrea, whereas people were saying Andrea would win. You know, people aren't saying yet that Sarah's going to win. I think they're saying it now, but they weren't at that point.
So you don't think there's any element of like meat shield going on here? Like Cerise sees Sarah as a meat shield for herself.
Yeah, I think she sees both of them as a meat shield, but her meat shields were gunning for each other. She had to pick one, and she picked the one who's less of a threat, maybe to win challenges.
I bet
Or
at the end too. Yeah.
both?
I don't think she wants to go to the end with Sarah, but she says I could go to the end with Sarah and beat her, I feel like. And well, if the thing is though, I really don't see Suri making the end.
Bite
And
your
that's
tongue.
I don't know, that's simply because of her not being able to win immunity. Like I think it was I mentioned this last week too, I think it was the guy's plan all along, Brad and Troyzan, that Suri can stay as long as she wants because we'll chop her at 4, no problem. And because she's not going to ever win immunity. So, yeah, let her go as far as she wants. It's one less person we have to face in the challenges that could potentially beat us. So that's the only reason Suri is still there, I think, at this point. Maybe a bold statement.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. I believe Sarah's safe until 5, and that's the last time an idol can be played. But I believe that Sarah is going to be idled out of the game.
Sarah?
Yes, at 5.
I mean, that's definitely possible because we know Ty has 2 idols.
Can we talk about the cojones on that guy? How this is the 3rd time now. He seemed more in danger than I even believed. And yet he has a spare. And he didn't play either one of his idols. Like, you don't win Survivor by not playing idols. It's respectable, but that's not like the one thing that wins you the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like he could be maneuvering with these idols, and therefore people would understand the game he's playing better. But instead, he's hoarding them, letting nobody know about them. And maybe it'll come out at the end and people will be like, oh, that's nice. But by then, like, their minds are made up. They're not just going to suddenly change their minds and think Ty's some mastermind, you know? I don't know.
Yeah, well, we know the idols are coming out. We got in the preview, we get a shot of Ty showing Troyzan and Brad his idols.
Okay.
And then he's crying and he's like, I messed up or something like that. So
yeah, it's hard not to feel bad for the guy, because what did he even do this week that deserved the wrath of Suri, you know? I just don't know.
Nothing. He's just so easily played. I mean, I felt like the waterworks on Suri's part were mostly just an act, right? I mean,
oh yeah, up until the non-transferable bullshit, I was like in awe of Suri.
Yeah,
for even thinking this up.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just too confusing for me to sort out whether it was a good move or not. But I mean, yeah, just the scheme itself is masterful. And her realizing that, okay, the only thing that could mess this up is Ty could play an idol, and he probably has one. So I better find some way to make sure he doesn't play this idol. So she goes and pitches him this story about, can you tell us what that story is? I don't know exactly what she says to him. She cries. I remember that much.
I don't know. She spins some yarn about
don't play this idol
that Ty
because
is in danger.
Yeah, but don't play your idol. Why?
Yeah, I don't understand why if you don't want someone to play their idol, you tell them they're in danger when they're not.
Oh, because she was like, but I'm going to use this advantage and I'm going to be so mad at you if I use this and you end up using an idol anyways and blah, blah, blah. So it's just a big guilt trip, basically.
Yeah, I mean, Ty's just the person. If you want to lay a guilt trip on someone to further your game, look no further than Ty, because the poor guy is just, he's a ball of feelings.
He's so vulnerable.
I feel bad for him, like, I don't know what kind of game he's played. I know the jury clearly doesn't respect it, but he just seems so lost out there. It's hard not to feel bad for the guy.
Yeah. But yeah, balls of steel. on that guy.
Truly, truly.
But I honestly just think that in the Whisper Fest that he really trusted the people that were telling him whatever,
Hmm.
Michaela, it's going to be Michaela.
Hmm.
He just really, I don't know, maybe that can be attributed to Ty's ability to read whether people are lying to him or not.
He's one of the best at it, man. Jay
Yeah.
even misread finally. Jay last season held on to his idol forever, but he eventually played it wrong. Um, so Ty has got to be the king of reading people,
At
which is
least
why
at least in this instance, I mean,
crazy whisper fests.
we could go back to Ko Wrong and look at moments where Ty was being lied to, and I mean, he has had shocked looks on his face all year long, all season long. So maybe he's
Mhm.
not that good, but I don't know. At least in this instance, he seemed to have read that people were being honest with him, and
Yeah.
that's why he held on to them. I mean, there's no other reason. And now, I mean, it's a good thing he did, because if he chose to, he could be immune for 6 and 5, and he's only vulnerable at 4, and
You
he's
could have, okay, you could have, let's say Aubrey wins immunity.
yep.
So Aubrey's immune, Troy's immune, Ty's immune, Sarah's immune, Brad gets the other idol, Brad's immune. Sari goes home. There's no
Yeah.
other option.
But I mean, that whole scenario was like so unlikely, in my opinion, that all those idols are going to get played in that way, especially Brad getting an idol. But I mean, the preview makes us think that's what's going to happen. I don't know. I suppose it could.
Red herring.
Yeah.
Do you think, okay, I thought someone on the jury mentioned this too. Like, I think it was Ozzy. They know that Sarah has the legacy advantage, and that has to be played at 6. Do you think if Sarah feels safe at 6, that she should not play it just to keep the target on herself smaller?
Mm,
Or does she play it no matter what?
that's a good question. I guess if it were me, this is Survivor, and you got to play it because you don't know if you're safe or not. Even when you feel safe. Actually, everyone says when you feel the most safe, that's when you go home. So
True, and it's especially difficult now coming on the heels of this last tribal council, because this is probably the least safe she's gonna feel. Um, but it's also the time when the target on her is biggest. So if she plays it another advantage, the target gets bigger.
yeah, I mean, there's a couple other threats in the game, so I don't think she has to worry about being the number one threat
Yeah.
all the time. Like, I mean, I think Suri and Aubrey are also big threats, to win
Mm-hmm.
it. So yeah, I don't know. Suri especially, like at 5 or 4, you got to get rid of Suri. So maybe that saves Sarah another vote, and she just needs to win one
I don't know.
immunity.
I would get rid of Sarah first.
Yeah, based on her gameplay this
Like you
season.
said,
Yeah.
Sari won't win that final challenge. There's a good chance that Sarah could.
Yeah, you're right. So Sarah is the biggest target.
In
Um,
my eyes, who knows what they're thinking? They're thinking all crazy out there. I don't know what they're thinking.
yeah, I think your best move is definitely to use the advantage if you need
Yeah,
to.
you're right.
Yeah,
Oh, so that
or
means
not just if
probably
you need to, just to use it. Use it.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Use it, use it, use it. Ken used it. He didn't need it.
Right.
Everyone was taking him to the end.
So yeah, I was gonna see if we could sort out the scramble before the Michaela vote, but I don't know if either one of us is capable of really recapping that. I mean, it's
I don't even
so
remember how it started. I just to me, did you see the look on Jeff Probst's face when they all started getting up again? He looked
was
like thoroughly disgusted. He was like,
he didn't like
I
it.
don't think he liked it. I think he's like,
Good.
what has begun? Like,
I don't like it either. I mean,
it's gotta stop.
they have to put something in the rule book about, because I mean, if it gets to the point where all tribal going ons are being discussed in whisper mode, like
That's not okay. That's
how
not the
are
point
we
of a
as
TV show.
yeah, how are we as viewers to enjoy that? I mean, to me, to see this a second time in the same season was utterly disgusting. I mean, I
Yeah.
felt disgusted. I thought it was terrible. I mean, I think I can see why Jeff Probst had that look on his face, because he was genuinely concerned about how the viewers would react to this. I think he knew that they'd be like, "Oh my God, really? Like, we don't want this."
We
We don't
don't.
want to.
I
We
don't
don't
want
want
it,
this.
Probst. Keep it off my TV. I understand you let the cat out of the bag, but you need to shove it back in because I don't want to see that ever again. Because you couldn't understand what anyone was saying. That's why when the votes came, Michaela, we were all like, what? Because we didn't know that was even an option.
Yeah, I feel like that should be an element of the game is that when you're at tribal, you are required to say things out loud. All of your whispering and scheming needs to have happened
On
before
the
you get
beach
to
before you
tribal.
show up. There's no excuse
Yeah.
this time because the other tribal council, I was like, okay, those tribes didn't get a chance to speak to each other. This is a special case. That is not the case in this situation. So this should not have happened. Like the
Hmm.
non-transferable thing throws a wrench into things, but that's no excuse to whisper.
Yeah. And I don't think that doesn't mean you can't have a live tribal
Mhm.
and talk to each other out loud and say things to each other. Also, like it might lead to people having like secret signals, like if I tug my left ear, it's this guy, and if it's my right ear, we're doing this.
Yeah,
Like
that's not
that's legit.
conducive to. I mean, the point of Survivor is to make a TV show. And if you can't understand what the hell anyone's even communicating to each other, then forget it. Like,
Not
what are
to
you even
mention
doing?
not to mention it just looks ridiculous.
It
Like
does.
it
And
just
and to see that look on Probst's face to feel like he's lost control of the room is like,
it's
I
not
don't want
good.
to see Probst with that look on his face.
It's unsettling.
It's unsettling. And another, did you watch when they were showing the votes? And
No.
Brad and Troyzan's face when they voted, they both looked so pissed. And I was like, you need to chill out, bros. Like, you're lucky you're even there. You're not gonna win. Why are you so mad?
I don't think they liked Michaela. And
They obviously didn't. And, she was
honestly, yeah,
pretty mean to
I
Brad.
I'm on Brad's side on this one. The way she talked to Brad, and yeah, we need to talk about this. The go fish
I don't
moment.
even understand that.
That was her
Why did they
doing
show that?
exactly what Brad said. She was being a prima donna little princess. Like she was
Yeah.
being entitled. Like she's like, you're going home. Better go fish. Like basically saying like, get me food. Like
Before you leave? Or was she
before
saying, if
you
you get
leave.
me food, I won't vote you out?
No, there was none of that. It was just her being a dick. She was being a dick. And
I will.
Brad, if I was Brad, I would be infuriated. Like I
Mm.
don't blame him at all. So like, I mean, and Troyzan is just Brad's little buddy. So, uh,
I have to say, Michaela's Ponderosa, I've never seen someone so happy after they got voted out of the game. Like she was just beaming, just happy. Like you
what?
didn't see her that happy in the game ever.
Why do you think she was so happy to be out of there?
I think she was like relieved from being released from the stress, and she's just kept saying how thankful she was that she got to play, and I think she was happy to eat.
Yeah,
But she was just
back
a
to
whole
back
different
seasons.
person. She was just a completely different person.
Yeah, and she said she wants to play a third time too. So,
Did she?
yeah.
She said she wants to play when she's like 35 and she's matured
Oh,
a little bit. That's what
yeah.
I.
That's a good idea because the know-it-alls they always say like the prime survivor age is like like mid 30s or early 30s or something like that because you're
Yeah.
mature but you're still young enough to do well in challenges.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. So
But I
yeah,
think I
that
think
part, I don't know. I was really annoyed with Michaela at that part. I was like, this is just
I
not
was
cool.
just confused. I
Go
felt like they were
fish.
only showing it because it was Michaela's boot episode, so they wanted to give her some screen time and that was all they had. And it's not hard to understand like why people couldn't stand to be around her because she wasn't herself. When you see that Ponderosa video, you're like, if this is who Michaela really is, yeah, I'd want to hang out with that person all the time. And maybe there were moments, obviously, there were probably moments where she was like that. But whenever they showed her on the show, she seemed to be just down, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it was the back-to-back seasons. I know
Yeah.
I could never do that. Like,
Yeah.
so that would be tough.
Yeah, it was fun to see the real Michaela though, because I feel like she didn't show up much in this season.
Why did they make the vote Michaela?
I think they just saw her as Cerie's number 2, and she was also a challenge threat, so she's probably the one you should get rid of first.
Right. And what about maybe she's just like an easy vote, like sort of someone they don't think an idol is going to be played on, just
Yeah, I
like,
guess it's someone Sarah and the guys could agree on.
and sort of unexpected too. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, if you're thinking about idols, it's like, oh, Michaela. I mean, I know I was really surprised. I was like, I didn't know Michaela was even on the. I didn't even know she was on the block, and then she's
Maybe that's
gone.
the other thing is they believe she didn't have an idol.
Right. Yeah. Um, I guess we kind of covered the main points. We could touch on little details if you want to. I don't know.
I was thrilled to pieces to see Aubrey finally win an immunity. And felt
Yeah.
so bad for her when Andrea got voted out. Like she's so right. She has like she's like the female Spencer. Like she has these high moments and then just gets knocked over. And it happened yet again.
Yeah, I mean, she's had a really rough season when it comes to being on the outside of the vote. Like, she doesn't
Mm-hmm.
seem to ever be in the know on the vote.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe more so in the post merge recently when Suri and Andrea's alliance was sort of
Running thing.
working for a couple votes. But
Mm-hmm.
other than that, Aubrey all season long has not been included on who's going home.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
Yeah, so
But she's still there and she's scrappy. And I love how in tribal council, you know, she's like the opposite of Michaela in that, and this is probably because she's older and a bit more mature. I don't know if she's that much older than Michaela. But anyway, um, what it doesn't matter what anybody says. On the inside, it could piss her off to no end, but she's so good at just like respecting what the people are saying at tribal council and agreeing with them and appeasing Jeff. Like she's really good at tribal council.
oh
Obvious.
yeah, she's a master for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked how when Brad made a little joke when he took his immunity necklace off and he's like, parting is such sweet sorrow, and Aubrey like was the only one who laughed. Like she had like a hearty laugh, like
That's what I mean. Like Aubrey's so like it could be your enemy in the game, but she's still like.
well, yeah, I couldn't tell if she was like kissing Brad's ass to get in with him or.
She was, and then she was annoyed at Brad when he won the immunity challenge and like threw sand because that's what I do when I win things. I pick up sand and I throw it back into the ocean. She was like, she had a she just has really great facial expressions too.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting that how Brad reacted after that challenge. I thought it was like very much shades of Troyzan, like this is my island.
This is my island.
Yeah. So like being that those two are allies, that was really funny that this was happening. But it just goes to show.
Good point.
It just goes to show when you're having such a good game and all of a sudden things aren't going your way and your back's against the wall and like you're screwed and like that all these people were going to vote you out and you kind of you have to, I don't know, empathize or sympathize. What's the word? Which one is it?
Empathize. Well, both, depending on if you've been in that situation or not. But
have not.
like,
so
do you
sympathize?
I feel like maybe this happens more in Big Brother where the shifts in power, like you always end up rooting for the underdogs, usually no matter who they are. But I don't find myself rooting for Brad and Troy. Like I know they're underdogs, but
well, they are now. I mean, they weren't a few weeks ago. They were
have
in power.
Been now for a couple weeks. Doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, I guess I see what you mean. Like technically at this point they're kind of underdogs because they're
that's what that whole display was about. Like, yeah, try to send me home. Like when Troy was in trouble in One World, that was a crappy season and you were maybe, I don't remember, but I feel like maybe kind of rooting for him. But then he does that and it's like, I can't root for you now.
Right. Yeah, I think some people might have been rooting for him at that point, and I do think that when he acted like that, everyone changed their mind. They're like, okay, Troyzan he can go. He can go now.
Yeah, it was
Kim
an
wins.
interesting display. Well, and Troy did not vote for her.
There you go.
Just another, like Debbie, she talks about in her jury video how amazing Suri is, which she's not wrong, but she does not mention Sarah. Sarah's not getting Debbie's vote. Debbie is not voting for Sarah.
Okay, interesting.
She is the Aubrey of this season.
I really don't
Aubrey over Sarah.
I really don't think Ozzy is going to vote for Sarah either because
He said he's like it's getting harder for me to want to vote for Sarah. That's what he said.
well, in this episode, Sarah said something about like, I've sat over there, referring to the jury, and Ozzy's face was like, give me a break. Like, because Ozzy's like, I've sat on the jury 4 friggin' times or whatever.
3.
Oh, yeah, one time he was in the finals, so yeah.
Yeah. But still, he's been on both ends of it. Like, he knows more about it than she does. But, like, that's what I mean. She has she tries to pander to the jury, and I feel like she's not good at it.
Yeah, well, I mean, Andrea and Aubrey in this episode were really noticing how much Sarah's pandering. Like, that was a big focus of the episode, I think, was that, like, we're on to her pandering. And that's why Andrea wanted her gone, because she's like, maybe this pandering is working. I mean, obviously it worked on Sierra Dawn Thomas because she left her this advantage. So it worked to some extent.
Yeah. It's going to be a bummer if Sarah ends up in a final 3 with 2 of the guys, because if she was there with either of the girls, they could like call her on that stuff, you know?
Okay.
I don't think there's any combination of all girls in the final 3. It sucks. I think it's going to be a mix. But the worst outcome is the all male final 3.
What are the 3? Who's the third girl? Aubrey,
and Sarah.
Oh,
and then you have Ty, Troy, and Brad.
Right. Okay. Yeah, it's looking more and more like it's probably going to be the dudes.
If it's all, I mean, fine with maybe 1 or 2 of the dudes being there. There's no way around that happening. But if it's all dudes, like, we've wasted our time, Dave. We've just wasted our time.
What if Ty wins?
Wasted our time.
Okay.
It'd be a nice redemption thing, but I'd be like, Survivor Game Changers winner Ty. Really? Okay, whatever. Survivor, they broke Survivor. It means nothing anymore.
Survivor has broken.
Thanks, Game Changers. You really did change the game. Game Breakers.
Game Breakers. Yeah, that should be the name of the season. There you go.
You should have just showed the jury trip for the rest of the season. Pre-jury trip, excuse me.
Yeah. Now we'll be showing you the pre-jury trip instead of the rest of the season.
Here's Caleb and Malcolm and Tony playing football. Is it more entertaining than Ty and Troyzan and Brad talking about idols? Yes, it is.
Very nice. I thought this was like a all-star, not all-star. What's the word I'm looking for? It was like a great episode. Let's just say great, because I can't think of a word. This is a great episode for Jeff Probst. He had like a lot of lines and funny one-liners, and just I don't know.
Yeah, what did he say again? Oh, when Michaela kicked the puzzle, he's like, that always helps.
Michaela kicks the puzzle, which always helps.
And then when Aubrey hugged him.
Yeah, like the whole Cochrane romance thing.
Yeah.
She's like,
my boyfriend.
And Jeff's like,
she demolished her boyfriend's record, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, a Survivor romance is blooming like right now or something. Isn't Aubrey's like married now, isn't she?
I don't know what Aubrey's deal is, but
I thought I heard she was engaged or something. Anyways,
could be. I don't know anything about that.
And then like when Cerie's stuck, like, or she's sitting on top of the post in that one challenge, and Jeff's like, "Do it, Cerie!" Like, like forcing her.
I was saying on the couch. I was like, "Jump,
jump! It's just water. Come on, man."
That whole challenge, I thought they were poisoning Cerie up for a come from behind victory because she's such a puzzle master.
Oh yeah.
But then they never would cut to her, so I was like, "Oh, I guess this isn't happening." Wishful thinking. I'd love to see her win something. Come on, just have a whole challenge be a puzzle. No physical element at all, just straight puzzle. Then she'll win.
Well, yeah, I was thinking like maybe this season will turn things on their heads. On its head? On its head. Maybe they will pick a final challenge that is just a puzzle to give Cerie a fighting chance. You know, when all along these guys thought Cerie is the perfect person to take to the final immunity challenge.
Yeah.
Because he has no chance in immunity. Why not just make it a straight up puzzle?
Why can't they reinvent how the game is played?
So
They're the people who.
here's the thing in Karamoan with Cochrane, I don't remember how much came before it, but the great majority of the final immunity challenge was a big puzzle where you had to put together like a dragon or a snake or something. And it was
Okay, let's bring it back.
I think I tend to wonder if part of the reason they made such a big puzzle and as like the biggest part of that challenge was to give Cochrane a chance, to not just make it some endurance challenge that he can't keep up in, or even worse, an obstacle course that I can't remember who was there at the end.
Who was he up against? He was up against Don Cherry and who else?
Yeah, I guess there's only one other person who would threaten that sort of.
I don't recall who it was.
I know Eric Reichenbach went out. I think it was Eddie.
That's Eddie. Right, Eddie. He beat Eddie? Well, puzzle. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Puzzle. So I think that's what gave him that edge,
Yeah.
Yeah.
They could do it again. Like make them, the physical part not the main part.
Right. And to be fair, I do think that if I remember right, there was some sort of obstacle course before the big puzzle. So
well, then that could present a problem.
Yeah, he did fine at that. But for Suri, yeah, might be a problem. Good point.
My girls are still there, but I don't know for how long.
Yeah, I guess we'll see in the finale.
The only hope I hold on to is that they mentioned maybe getting rid of Ty in the preview, and I don't think Sarah's work has gone unnoticed.
So yeah, if you get rid of Ty and Sarah, that leaves us Suri and Aubrey at the final four.
One of them's going?
Yeah.
I'm holding on to this. I believe one of them will get there, okay? I believe.
But can Aubrey win if she makes it?
Yeah.
I think so too. And the only thing that indicates
she's a disco ball.
The only thing that indicates that she can't is like the edit. If you read the edit like too literally and you're like, oh, we haven't seen much of her this season, so I don't think she can win. I don't know.
But Michelle didn't have an edit. I know people have said that already, but like it'd be a similar story.
In this episode, Aubrey does have a confessional where she says, like I finally won immunity and I'm starting to build my resume. So, I mean, we get that. I mean, that's a little bit of storytelling. Like I'm building my resume for the end. So that could bode well. Also, I don't know if we talked about this in a past podcast, but there was this behind the buff thing where Sandra was like,
oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, Rob Sesternino was asking, and I hope this isn't like spoiler territory, but I don't think so.
It's been noted how some of the pre-merge survivors aren't good at doing press without like hinting at things. Yeah, JT being the main one.
So read into this what you will, but Rob Sesternino asks Sandra, like, so if you come back to play again, who would you love to play with? And she starts listing off like winner after winner after winner. And she's like, Tony, I don't know if she said JT because I don't know.
I don't think so.
But yeah, like she names off a bunch of winners like Tony, Boston Rob. Like she's basically naming like the winner's season, And then after naming 5 winners at the end, she's like Aubrey. She names Aubrey.
Which is weird because she did play with Aubrey and didn't like her and didn't work with her. So now she wants to play with her?
Yet she's lumping Aubrey into a winner's season.
I forgot about this and now I'm going to hold on to it with all the strength that I have.
So just saying that's a possibility that maybe Sandra knows that Aubrey has a good shot of winning this thing or something. So hold on.
That would be a joyous outcome. I remember last season thinking Adam winning would be the best outcome, and it happened. So
right, yeah. I mean, I think every season we're super skeptical that something good can come out when things are getting not so great. You know?
You're right. Well, no, Final 6 in Cambodia was dope. Like that was an awesome Final 6.
Was it? Jeremy.
And for Millennials Gen X, you had Jeremy, you had Wentworth, you had Spencer, you had Tasha, then you had Kimmy and Keith, who are both entertaining in their own ways. And then for Millennials Gen X, you had Brett, Jay, David, Hannah, Ken, Adam. So those are good Final 6s.
Well, no, but you have to remember that at that point, there's 6 people left, and we're always assuming the worst. We're always like, oh, it's going to be Ken, Hannah, which was true, but it was like
Yeah.
Ken,
And
Hannah, and Brett. I think
that
that's
was
what we
what we
said.
said was the worst outcome last
Yeah,
time. Yeah.
and we always assume we're kind of like leaning towards that happening, and the same thing is happening this season. We're like, oh, it's going to be Brad, Troy, and Ty, but like, it's probably not going to be that. And if Aubrey makes it, she could win. And
Aubrey, Troy, Ty.
Aubrey
Aubrey's
wins.
redemption. Aubrey's redemption, baby. Bring it
She
on.
did she get any votes? She got votes,
Yes,
didn't
she got
Couple.
2. Would have
Yeah.
gotten 3 if Michelle hadn't evicted Neil.
Yeah. Ty got 0 votes.
Ty got a 0.
Yeah. So
And
I mean,
Michelle got 5 or 6 or whatever.
I mean, it's really going to be tough for Ty to win, even though he is. I mean, here are some arguments why he should win. Maybe very likable, great in those endurance challenges and all challenges, not all challenges, but great at some challenges, and amazing at finding idols. So arguments why he should win. But when it comes down to that final tribal council and him having to give that speech on why he should win and being asked questions and being grilled, he's just not gonna
It makes me feel bad. That I think maybe if it's Ty, Troy, and Brad, Ty wins.
Yeah, that's possible. I could see that.
Because Cerise sees something in him that's threatening.
Right. Yeah. Why else would she?
The only one.
Right. Why did Sarah steal Ty's vote?
Don't ask me. I don't know.
That is probably, of all the confusing things in the episode, that is the one that's like, I don't get it.
I also feel like it was a waste.
Yeah. Why not steal like Cerise's vote? Or
why not hang on to it when it's going to be an even number next week? Could she stand up and be like, okay, Jeff, I'm going to play this advantage and I'm going to play this advantage. Here you go.
Maybe it's because the advantage had been revealed.
Yeah. Once it's known, it's lost a lot of its power because people will come up and be like, don't take my vote, bitch, like threaten you or else try to buddy up to you or just vote you out. And then your extra vote doesn't even matter. So I think it was right to play it. I just don't know why she stole his vote.
Right. And also the legacy advantage, like the cat's out of the bag on that one, right? Like
not in the game, just
it's not like, because doesn't somebody else know? Hasn't she told other people about this?
She told Michaela, but I don't know that they didn't show Michaela tell anybody else. I don't think anybody else knows.
So Michaela was the only other person she told about this legacy advantage.
I think so. Unless Michaela told Sari, but I feel they would have showed that.
Well, maybe. I think it's I don't think we can rule out the possibility that word has gotten out that Sarah has the legacy advantage.
Yeah, it's possible. It's possible.
Either way, it doesn't really matter because we're at the point. She's made it to the point where she has to play it now. So
it will be used.
It's irrelevant.
Early on in the finale, it's going to be used.
And yeah, if Ty is smart, he will play one idol per tribal on himself. Because I mean, that's just
don't give it to Brad. Don't give it to Brad. You held on to it this long.
I mean, that's just what you would do if you were smart. I mean, you get through the entire game with 2 idols, and you're at the position where you can use them both to make yourself safe make
it to the final 4, have a good chance of winning that challenge
and winning the game. So come on, Ty. But I guess we'll see what he decides to do.
He holds on. He hoards his idols. Remember when Scott asked him for his idol and he was like, no. What if he pulls that on Brad?
He might be like, Brad, I'll play this on you just to tease him a little bit. I guess it could happen.
Yeah, it could happen.
All right. Shall we get on to the MVP of the episode?
I don't even know where to begin.
Do you want to double up on MVPs since there's
No. Yeah, I'm gonna give it to Sari for retract. Oh, okay, I'm gonna give it to Ty for having such giant cojones and not playing that idol. Either of his idols. He has 2.
I thought Troyzan was the one with giant cojones.
Let's not go there.
Yeah, you're right. That's probably for the best.
At least, he's getting attention this season for something. Probably not what he wants to get attention for, but it
No,
could be
probably.
worse for like a dude. Like that's not a bad thing.
No, I think a lot of guys really want that kind of attention. So I don't
Yeah.
know.
So way to go, Troy Zan.
Way to go, buddy. All right.
You did it.
uh, my MVP is Troy Zan for having such giant cojones.
Stop it. Don't give him anything.
I'm just joking. Okay, let's see here.
By the way, did you see that Troy Zan blocked like all the Survivor press on his Twitter? Did you see that?
Why would he do that?
Josh Wigler posted something that he was blocked by Troy Zan, and now like all the other guys have been blocked by him too. I don't know about Rob, but pretty much everyone has been.
Why do you think he would do that?
I think maybe he's tired. It might just be that it's bringing him down to hear all the talk of his invisible edit or the talk about his wiener. I don't know. But so he has just maybe for his own sanity blocked it out for now.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got to feel kind of bad for Troy Zan because if you know anything about him, he was like a ginormous Survivor fan, and he's wanted to get a second chance for so long. I mean, he was in the running for second chances, if I remember right.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
and Culpepper.
Yeah, and yeah, he's wanted this second chance, and this hasn't gone anything like he wanted it to. I mean, other than
the exception of him making it far.
Yeah, but I have a feeling like it's going to. He knows where this is headed. It's headed for him going to Final Tribal, getting grilled for being useless and not playing that good of a game, and then
getting
probably
0 votes.
Yeah, and he knows where it's going. I don't know. That's probably why.
Yeah,
he knows the shitstorm's coming.
Yep.
Yeah. So, anyways, my MVP. I guess God, I don't know. I'll give it to Sarah, I guess, for like I don't know.
For completely
using that advantage like in a
bamboozling Suri.
Getting the whispering going, even though I hate watching it, like she was able to flip things around and get things going the right way. I don't know. Let's give it to Sarah.
Okay.
And
winner predictions.
Oh, we're on to winner predictions. Oh boy. Oh boy.
5 people are going home, technically. 3. 2 will make it to Final Tribal. You could predict a combo that'll make it to Final Tribal.
Okay. Predict a combo. I don't know. I'm all on board with this Aubrey, Ty, and Troy Zan. That's my prediction.
I was going to predict that too.
Give us a variation. The darkest timeline, I suppose, is probably the only
I'm not
way.
going to go with the darkest timeline. I will predict... I'll predict Sarah, Aubrey, Troy.
Sarah, Aubrey, Troy. Yeah, I mean, I forget that Sarah has had a great edit all season.
So did Kelly Wentworth.
Good point. Yeah.
David Wright. 4th place, people.
Touche. All right. Okay. Any final thoughts on the episode?
It was wacky. It was all over the place. I didn't care for it, to be honest. I didn't care for the way it made me feel.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, but I mean, we kind of covered how
there were things to like, individual things to pick out of it and enjoy. But it just left me with a sense of dread at what could be coming. But I'm going to try to be optimistic and hold on to the hope that I don't believe that the only way this season is fulfilled is with a Sarah win. I think that's fine. But I think a Suri or Aubrey win might be a little bit better.
All right. Yep. I can get on board with that.
Yeah.
And that'll do it for this episode of the podcast. Just want to say thank you so much for listening. If you listened to this whole thing, and you can follow us on Twitter at TV is our real mom, and be sure to like, comment, favorite, and subscribe. Thanks for listening, and have a good one. And
by the way, my prediction is that Aubrey wins in that combination. I didn't say that. Okay, now.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Oh, we're supposed to say who won?
Well, in our final 3, I think Aubrey wins. You think Aubrey wins in that final 3.
Oh, you had Aubrey in your final 3?
Aubrey, Sarah, Troy Zan.
Oh, for some reason I just like thought you replaced Sarah with
No,
replace
Sarah,
Aubrey.
Aubrey, Troy, both of them.
Oh, okay. Yeah, obviously I think Aubrey would win in my combo too. So
Okay, awesome.
all right. Thanks for listening, you guys. Have a good one.
Have a good night.